Okay, so we're just setting up your Facebook Live meeting. I believe that we are now live on Facebook. Hello and good evening.
Hi.
And a very welcome to the latest exclusive online professional only event just for you, our valued Illumier MD partners, right here in the Illumier MD Professional Facebook Forum for UK and Ireland. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined this evening for a really special webinar on how to ensure business growth and success in the new economy that we find ourselves in. And I'm joined for this webinar by none other than Pam Underdown and her husband, Adam. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
You've met 100 times before. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having us. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're delighted to have you. And for those that are watching, if any of you don't yet know Pam and Adam, they are a force to be reckoned with. Pam is a really incredibly well-known trainer and mentor within the aesthetics industry with over 15 years experience helping clinics just like yours survive and thrive. And Adam, her husband, is a digital marketing expert. They've joined forces to create their business, aesthetic business transformations, and that is exactly what they do. Through private mentoring, group workshops, online training, as well as supplying endless tools and resources that are proven to dramatically improve the profitability of clinics just like yours. They've helped literally hundreds of clinics survive. And this is really such a crucial time to adapt your business, to shape your business so that it is guaranteed to be successful within the new future. You know, we've been talking lots across these professional events that there is no normal to go back to. And so this really is the time to grab the opportunity that this new digital era is going to offer us and make sure that we continue to not only survive, but thrive in this new future. So before we sort of dive into some of the questions that we've had from our partners within the Facebook forum, Pam, why don't you just tell everybody a little bit more about your business and where people might be able to kind of dip their toe in the water a little bit if they wanted to get to know a little bit more about what you do.
Absolutely. So evening, everybody. Thank you for having us. Hi. So thank you, Victoria. Thank you for inviting us on tonight. So our website, just so you can have a look, more information, we've got loads of free resources on there, lots of free tools. If you haven't done so already, do please download our free guide, 9 steps to transform your aesthetic profit. So download that. There's loads of useful things in there. You can also read testimonials, see what we've done for other people. And because over the years I've written so many articles for so many magazines, Aesthetics Journal, Aesthetic Medicine, you can actually go back and read some of those. So if you're newer to aesthetics, there is a 13-part article called Getting Started in Aesthetics. So there's loads of resources on there, also on our Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. So make a quick note. The website is www.aesthetic-bt for business transformations, not British Telecom, .com, aesthetic-bt.com. And under YouTube, just search for Pam Underdown, or Facebook, Aesthetic Business Transformations. We give away a lot for free, and there's a reason for doing that. It's to help you guys, because you're all going to be at different stages in your journey. Some of you who are newer, you might want to absorb a lot of the free things first and take action, get some results, and perhaps join us later for a workshop or some online training. And for those more established, you might need some more personalized help. So we are offering some free consultations over the next few weeks to help you get really kick-started. So best thing to do is just email us and we'll share the details with you at the end. But anyway, we better get cracking. We've got lots to get through.
We've got lots of questions. We came to you in the Facebook forum to ask you what you'd like to know about business success in the new economy. And we've really got such a great response. So thank you for being so engaged, and thank you for sending your messages, both underneath the feed and through private direct messages as well. What we've done is we've collected all of your questions and we've kind of put them into a little bit of a patient journey. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with all the questions that we got in around kind of making the most out of what you've already got, Then we're going to look at new patient acquisition. We'll touch briefly on consultations and how to engage with those patients. And then we'll look at how to sort of best operate your practice for streamlined operations. And then we'll be looking into how you can keep patients coming back again and again. So let's start right at the beginning. Pam, we actually had a really lovely comment. Somebody wrote underneath and said, "Oh, I love Pam."
Oh, Sharon, I think that was last, yes.
They said, "We really love Pam's leaky bucket analogy." And I love it as well. So why don't we start off by just going over that again and how people can make the most out of what they've already got within their existing business?
Absolutely. And now's the ideal time to do it if you haven't done it already through lockdown. So leaky bucket, think of your business, your clinic, your practice as, I say, rather than a bucket, we'll call it a boat. So it's a little boat. And it might have a few little leaks coming out of the bottom of the boat. So those leaks could be profits, it could be your time, it could be your energy, it could be some patients that aren't serving you, it could be your team are draining you, it could be all sorts of things. So those leaks are the first thing that we always address, whether it's a group client workshop that we're working in or a private client. The first thing we do is plug those leaks. Because if you think about it logically, there's no point in pouring more patients or more clients in the top of your bucket, your boat, if there's leaks coming out the bottom. So we plug the leaks first, get the fundamentals in place, look at all your profitability, your pricing, your positioning. We're going to talk about that in a second, and just make sure that the foundations are as stable as they can before we then start marketing to get new clients and patients through the door. Does that make sense? So that's the best way of looking at it, either bucket or boat. Anything to add, Adam? Pardon?
Or a bouquet.
Or a bouquet. A bouquet. I say boat because we live by the sea, you see. So, but yeah, just picture it like that and try and plug those leaks. The main reason being, I think a lot of people come to us to say, I just need more new patients. Now, unless you're brand new, of course you do. If you're brand new, you do. But everybody else who's been established, whether you've got 10 people, 1,000 people, or 10,000 on your database, there's a lot you can do to plug leaks first before you spend time and money putting new patients and clients in the top. Does that make sense?
It's true. I mean, we've had the odd person come to us, and we've talked to them, and we've asked them, what's critical to sort out in your business right now, and the answer we get is, oh, I just need more patients. And we say, well, how many patients do you have already? Oh, I've got about 1,000 or maybe more. And it's like, well, okay, so there's 1,000 people there who've already bought from you, who already like you, already trust you, and I bet they haven't tried everything that you do. And so we kind of start there and we think, right, where are the quick wins? Where's the low-hanging fruit? How can we really add maximum value to who you're already working with, as opposed to doing the single hardest, most difficult thing
and most expensive,
trying to get brand new people to take an interest in you and make purchases. So yeah, that's the whole concept of the leaky bucket. Where are things, where's the low-hanging fruit? Where are things just need to be tightened up? And the compound impact of that is, revenue goes up and profit goes up.
Yeah. If you think about everything we teach, and Victoria, you'll know this because you've been to some of our workshops, like Adam said, it is the compound effect of small changes. So what we look at are, lots of things. So, where you're spending money, where you're wasting money, your time, your pricing, your profitability. Imagine if we can make some small tweaks here, put your prices up there, stop discounting here, look at stop spending too much if you're a spender. I know you lot. But if you can make lots of small adjustments over time, the incremental, the compounded effect of all of that will make a big difference to your bottom line. So that's what we always focus on, because there's no magic wand, unfortunately. There's no one thing that's going to solve everything. It is the compounded effect of lots of small tweaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So does that make sense? Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember that was one of the biggest takeaways that I had when I first sat in the front row of one of your seminars taking all my notes.
You did.
Actually, if you can increase the average transaction value of the patients that are already in your clinic spending the money just by a tiny little amount, you can literally double and triple your revenue. You don't need any more new patients. You just need to focus on what you're already doing. And then those new patients become a bonus. So that was a real light bulb moment for me.
Here's the interesting thing. Well, not everyone, but quite a lot of people think that the only way to double your revenue is to double the amount of customers that you have. Whereas actually, when we look at it, there are 3 ways to grow the business. One of them is to get new customers. It's the one everybody fixates on and
we
puts
are
all their
cover
energy into, but it's the single most difficult and most expensive thing to do. The other 2 ways are actually they're easier to do, and they can often yield bigger results. And one of them is increasing the average spend. In other words, how much does your typical patient spend, and increasing the frequency of their purchases, how often they come to see you. Now, what's interesting is when you look at the numbers, if you only increase the number of new customers by 10%, the average spend by 10%, and the frequency of spend by 10%, you don't get a 10% increase in revenue. What you actually get is a 33% increase. So you've grown your business by a third just on 10% increases in those 3 areas. It's not difficult, is it? When you break it down like that, it is not a huge, difficult task. So I would slip that one in there.
But if you want to double your revenue,
doubling your revenue, doubling your revenue.
Write this down, folks.
Go back to that model. Requires a 30% increase in new customers, a 20% increase in their average spend, and a 30% increase in their frequency of spend. You do 30, 20, 30, and you double your revenue.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're off. No, Dean.
We're done now.
We're done. No, not really, joking. But in all seriousness, you know, when you've got so many things you need to do, if you structured your time available to work on your business in those 3 areas, and you keep a track of those 3 metrics, and you spend 30% of your time available working on new patients, 20% of your time working to increase their average spend, and then 30% of your time available getting them in more often, ethically, and obviously with all the consultation training that you guys do, and you've obviously been really helping people through the last few months, you know that you can get them to increase their average spend and get them in more often with your skincare, with peels, all sorts of things, and that's fundamental.
Because, you know, if they're only buying one retinol serum and a cleanser, they're not going to get as good a results if they're buying the retinol, the vitamin C, and the sunscreen and the cleanser. So actually, by investing that time in helping them make a more rewarding investment, it's not only helping your business, it's helping their patient outcomes. Guess what? That means happier patient, it means more referrals, bingo, new clients.
Exactly.
So actually really nurturing what you've already got can be a good way of attracting new patients. But of course, there are many other ways as well. And so it leads us nicely into our next question around new patient acquisition.
So we had a couple of questions here, didn't we?
The first one being, do you have top 5 tips for a new business growth?
Yes. And I think it links nicely into how do I attract more patients, because it's really marketing to get new patients. So
just before we answer this one, are we coming at it from I've just started out in business?
I would imagine so. I think if we were to really hone in on that word new.
Okay.
Yeah.
The only reason I ask, because ironically, we get a lot of people who, again, come to us and they, I'm quite new to aesthetics, and we say, well, how long have you been doing this? And I say, 5 years. And it's like, that's not exactly new, is it? So we just needed to clarify.
Yeah.
New is in
But
new.
the person that sent this in, thank you. So if you're new, as in less than a year, handful of patients, probably less than 6 months, think about what most people do when they start a business. They get good at doing the doing, then they tend to get a logo, Facebook page, an Instagram page, and then just start broadcasting. I do this, I do that, if you take a step back from that, what you're actually doing there is straight in with the tactics and the kind of we. Take a step back and actually put some thought into the strategy first. So what do I mean by that? With any marketing, whether you're new or this is to get the attention of your existing patients and get them coming back for more, think about what marketing success is. It's the right message to the right person at the right time through the right channel or media. And which do you think that most people focus on, Victoria? Any idea?
Probably the right content.
It's the last one, the right channel, just Pam, just show me how to do Facebook, show me how to post on Instagram. That's usually the tactics, if you like. Most people don't think about the strategy. Who am I talking to? What am I saying? And how am I going to get their attention? So before we even look at any tactical stuff for marketing as a new business or existing business, you've got to think about the strategy. So who am I talking to? What am I saying? Have I actually even stood in their shoes? Because if you've never been a full paying patient before, never walked into a clinic and had a treatment, how are you really going to understand what they're really feeling and going through? You know, it can take months, sometimes years, for people to pluck up the courage and pick up the phone to call you. So by understanding how they feel and think, and really understanding their needs, their concerns, their problems more than they do, will enable you to actually have much more focused marketing that's going to get better results. Does that make sense? So in terms of the top 5 tactics, if we sort of separate it slightly and think of you've got 2 ways of growing any business. Doesn't matter what business you're in, our business, your business, there's 2 ways. You've got the free or low cost way, which often takes time, and you've got to be in it for the long term. So you're talking social media, content marketing, blogging, you know, educating, videos, using your website to kind of get out there, local marketing in your local area, building relationships locally. All of those things are kind of their long-term strategies that are either free or low cost, but they need your time. Then you've got the other way, which is often quicker, but it requires investment. And that's things like paid for advertising. So if you think about the obvious ones, so we've got Google ads. They're going to be really focusing on getting the attention of people that are already actively looking for answers to their problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so they've already got the intent and the interest. And if your Google ad is done well and it's done right, then you know you will appear in the top search terms and you will hopefully be one of the first clinics that they call. But that's for those who are actively looking. Then you've got Facebook and Instagram ads, or YouTube, you know, other digital advertising. And if you think about that, your any advert that pops up in our newsfeed is an interruption of our social experience. So it's if you're going to do some Facebook or Instagram advertising, you've got to do it in a way that meets that person where they're at. So your sponsored post actually looks like a social post. Does that make sense? It's got you in it. Yeah, it's got you in it, or one of your patients in it. You know, are you considering an aesthetic treatment? Are you not sure where to go and who to trust? Are you overwhelmed with choice? Why don't you watch the video below where one of our happy patients talks about their journey with us, you know, to skin health from this to this. And then it literally, it's nice and engaging. It's very personable, very real and human. We're going to talk a bit more about social media in a minute. So Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram, any digital advertising. So think about the key differences there. Then I think if you're a new business, to be honest, before I did any of that, I would actually really start to create your own digital assets. So have what we would call a model marketing day, obviously at the moment, one client at a time. Get somebody in to film it, record it. If you don't have much to invest in this area, contact your local uni, college, film society. There's always students looking to get their portfolio up, but get your own before and afters, your own testimonials, video review, reviews. Get the reviews across all the channels, not just Google, but really maximize the assets. Don't just put stock images and pictures of products. Talk about what the product does. Talk about your journey while you got into aesthetics. So definitely assets, and get those out there, and reviews, definitely. I talked about local business marketing quickly then. If you think about what's going on, obviously, during lockdown, we had no choice. We had to be digital, but we are still humans in a real world. And I bet there are businesses in your area that have got the same type of clients that you're looking for. And they might have not been interested before COVID, but if you think about it now, how much communities have come together, how much people have been really helping each other locally, it could be worth reaching out to see if there are some strategic partnerships in your local area that you can work with. Because online is one thing, but we do live in a real world. And if people can, come to an event, meet you locally, see that you look normal, that you're really friendly and approachable, you know what you're talking about, you can get their skin looking amazing, then you've got to do that as well as the digital stuff. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And there are so many strategic partners in your local community if you just think a little bit outside the box. Bridal shops, every single bride, maid of honor, mother of the bride wants to look the best on the day. So get into that bridal shop, do all of the staff a free peel, and they will naturally to every bride that comes through the door.
And if you're a mum, you know what it's like. There's going to be loads of mums groups. There's always one mum at the private school who knows everyone, and if you get in with her, she'll help you get in with everyone else. Events, when you can do them, even if they are just educational days, and they are appointment only at the moment, for taster sessions and things like that, skin health reviews. But the key is, the more you can build a relationship with somebody in your local area, it will break down the barriers, and it will you just need to become known in your local area, basically. And I think a lot of people forget that when they're new in business. They have this thing, networking, and it is scary depending on your personality type, whether you enjoy it like Victoria and I would, or whether you hate it like Adam would.
Getting better at it.
He's getting better at it. But it does depend on you and your personality type. And if that sort of alarms you, then at least just pick up the phone and start talking to people. But anyway, let's zip on. I'm going to talk about social media in a second, because that was the next question. I would say really the next thing is to have a highly converting website. Now, if you haven't got much to invest in this, you don't need to spend hundreds or thousands. You can just literally find somebody on People Per Hour, spend a couple of hundred, even if you've got a web page that's full of useful information, testimonials, videos, you being human and real on there, not stock images, folks. A highly converting website that you can push the traffic to from social media, and all the other marketing that you're doing. That's the ultimate goal, is to have that as highly converting as possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's lots of other things that you can do, but I think for a new business, you've really just got to weigh up the time versus the money, but you've got to appear in multiple places, online and offline, where your potential patients are spending time. Anything to add, Adam?
No, I mean, those really good tips. We've talked a lot about. There's a couple of, there's one very quick thing that people can do, even if you've only been doing this for like a year or less, and that is going back over unconverted leads as a means to get some traction quite quickly. So, grab a pen and a paper and make a big list of everyone who had a consultation, but you never heard from them again. And everyone who had a consultation, but then decided it wasn't the right time for a treatment. Everyone who booked a consultation but then cancelled, everyone who called the clinic but never booked a consult, and anyone you've had conversations with, via WhatsApp, email, social media, or before COVID, it's worth following up with people, because, and here's why, people's circumstances can and do change. Yeah, it's been a long time since you last spoke to them. Could be over 6 months ago. And an interesting thing is, some people, not everybody, but some people may have access to more money now than they did 6 months ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's worth thinking about, and definitely worth going through. A lot of our clients have done this, gone back over the last 12 to 18 months worth of correspondence, and they've got some stunning results from it.
Yeah.
And actually now is the perfect time to do it, because you've got an excuse to phone them. Hi, I just wanted to let you know that we are back open.
Yeah.
We are doing treatments. Hopefully from the 15th, we will be doing facial treatments.
Yeah.
Can we get you booked in so that you avoid the waiting list?
Yeah, perfect.
It's a check-in.
Yeah, a check-in.
It's a check-in to see how they are. Tell them you're still in business, because I'll tell you what, a lot of them may have the perception that you've been struggling, that you might not be reopening, that you've got under, so even just that alone might be enough. But you're not trying to rush them to a sale necessarily either. It's a case of, trying to get them to the next logical step, whatever that might be. It might just be a virtual consultation as the first logical step.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fast tracked. So,
or it could be inviting them in for a skin health review.
Yeah.
A perfect way to reignite your database. How are you? It's a service call, basically. Just checking in. I'd love to see you again. Let's get you booked in for a skin health review. And it's a nice, gentle way of doing it. So I'm just aware of time. So the lady, whoever asked us about attracting more patients, hopefully that's given you some strategies that you can use. Another quick win, which everybody kind of says they do, but most people don't have a formalized process in place. And it sounds so obvious. And by the way, anytime you think, oh, that's obvious, I know that. Are you doing it? So for those that have got even just 10 patients, even just 10, who do they know? Yeah, and have you got a referral process in place that is written down, that is talked about? You're handing out leaflets and cards, you're rewarding people ethically, obviously with non-medical treatments, but you're making it as compelling as possible to make them want to tell their friends. So we usually recommend something quite big and exciting to make people take notice. So whether that's £50 for one patient, minimum spend for the friend, obviously 200, say, say 150 for three patients, sorry, £200 for three patients, and say 300 for five patients, something credit on account. Don't think of, oh my God, I'm giving away £300 worth of money. You're not. This is actually buying you 5 new patients. So it's the cheapest way of getting marketing, new patients through the door, doing your marketing for you, because they've already come from trusted clients that love you. So they're kind of pre-sold. But even if you break even and you get them through the door and you haven't really made much profit by the time you've taken out cost of product, your time, all that kind of stuff, even if it hasn't made you much money, doesn't matter in that first instance, because you're buying that patient for life. As long as you do a great job at the consultation, take on board all the training that Victoria and the team give you, and get them ethically booked into a longer term treatment plan to get the results that they want, then that patient could easily be worth hundreds or thousands to you, easily. So it sounds obvious, it is obvious, but I bet most of you either rely on what we call hope referrals, accidentally, relying on people who promise they will and then forget, or you haven't got it written down, or you tell some people, or best one I heard, I won't mention who said this, one of our clients, he said, oh yeah, we tried that, it didn't really work. I said, oh, what did you do? He said, oh, we sent an email. Just one email? Yes. Did you follow that email up with a text message to say, did you get our email? Did you follow it up with something printed in the post? Did you, So the key is multiple methods of marketing to get people's attention, because everybody's busy, everybody's, distracted. Most people will forget. So again, like I say, an obvious one, but are you doing it?
Yeah. The key word is formalized. If you can get it, it's about facilitating and equipping patients for making referrals. Yeah, you can ask them. Yeah, and you can ask them with courage and conviction. Great. But they might get distracted. They might forget. They might procrastinate. If you put something into their hand and explain, this is how this works. This is how I operate. This is how I grow my clinic. Here's what you get. Here's what the person you refer gets. then you've given them all the tools that they need to go out there, and they can put it in someone's hand, either, you know, quietly and confidentially or openly, whatever. That you've got something, you've given them something to do this easily.
And especially if you say, you know, most people will get that in this day and age, that small businesses need as much help as we can get, right? So most people will understand, look, actually, it's a massive compliment if you tell your friends. I appreciate not everyone, you don't want everyone to know, but if you refer somebody to me, it is a part of how I build my business, and it would really mean the world to me.
Yeah,
you know, I've been making a point of every small business I've been to, whether it's a restaurant that's reopened since lockdown, or, you know, we went kayaking Sunday, and I've been saying to all of them, would a review help? And they're like, oh my God, yeah, absolutely. A review would really help us right now. So it's just about you know, people get it, but just ask them, formalize it, and get it out there. But anyway, let's move on, because I'm just looking at time.
I think one thing that I'm just picking up from what you're saying is that it's all about engagement. So it's not about flinging out an email or flinging out a social media post. It's about really engaging with those patients. Multiple methods of contact, following up. You know, there's a bit of a reoccurring theme so far. So we might kind of already answered, but the next question I think is really, really interesting. Somebody said, I put content out on social media, but I don't get much back. And then very closely linked, somebody else said, I've heard of a call to action, but what is it?
Yeah, well, let's do both of them separately, even though they're all related to marketing. We'll come on to the call to action one in a minute. But I think a lot of people say to us, and I get it as well, you know, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought and creativity to put stuff out on social media. And you've got to be comfortable raising your head above the parapet, and, you know, especially at the moment, the fear of being judged and all that kind of stuff. So it's you've got to be human and social, I suppose. It's called social media for a reason, and it is about being social. So like we talked about the sponsored posts, if you can create one that's actually a social looking post, you're going to get more engagement. But I think what a lot of people tend to do on social media is either hide behind, and sorry to say this, only because I see this quite a lot, pictures of products, but don't talk about what the product does and the benefits of it and what they use and their skincare and, you know, their journey to skin health, or they hide behind logos and stock images and things. The key to success on social media, as much as not all of you will feel comfortable with it, and it will take a while to get used to, is for you to be human, visible and real on there. We've got a couple of rhinoplasty surgeons that we work with. So Mr. Charles East, very world-renowned, with his wife Lydia Badia, Mrs. Badia, who's also a rhinoplasty surgeon. They're really active on Instagram and have been even more active since COVID. But since she started to become really visible on there, instead of patients walking into their practice and saying, oh, where's Charles? You know, they're recognizing Lydia now. They're literally, the barriers have broken down before they've even walked into the practice. And they've been doing lots of live Q&As, making it really like we're doing tonight, but just really human, you know. And these are, you know, like I say, world-renowned surgeons, and to have that break down those barriers, have people feel like they know you before they've even met you. Yeah. You can really use social media to do that. It does take time, it does take effort. You've got to think about your voice, your brand, what you want to be known for. If you're really, really, you know, all about patient safety, then that's the way you come across. Likewise, what you put out, you get back. If you don't want the younger market with big lips, don't put pictures of those on your social media, you know. So you've got to think strategically. I would much rather you had a quality post every day, or, you know, 3 really good ones a week, than constantly getting stuff out there and it not really hitting people. You know, stories are obviously a great way because they're in the moment, they're really real. You know, you're talking about 15 to 17 times more engagement with stories. So it's a lot more engagement. I think the big thing with social media is think of it as a platform to build what we would call know, like, and trust. You're not necessarily going to convert that many leads. It is a place for people to check you out. So you guys are visual businesses. A lot of people will look at your Instagram page and judge you by that. So you've got to put out the right image, if you like, that reflects your brand, but don't expect it to be a quick win. The only way you can get slightly quicker wins is to do paid for advertising, because that's what, think about it, that's what Facebook, you know, Instagram, obviously Facebook own them, it's what Google, they all want us to pay for ads. It's not enough these days to do free posts and expect money to come through the door. Does that make sense? Anything you want to add, Adam? I mean, Adam's our digital marketing expert.
I mean, you know, I must admit, you know, I've been doing social media for a while, and it's changed a hell of a lot. You know, we talked about when I first started doing it, you could put something on, you can post something on a Facebook page and it would appear in pretty much everyone's news feed, you know, all those people that like your page, and you get lots of engagement, and it was pretty easy to get things in front of your audience.
Yes.
Nowadays, it's changed so much now that, you know, you're lucky if 2% of your audience sees it, whatever you put out there.
Yeah.
So it's sending a big message. Facebook sending a big message to all its users. Do not expect customers for free. Yeah, it's a big message. But there are things you can do to, if it's engagement that you want, by the way, because a lot of people are really sure what they want out of social media.
Yeah, this lady's just put,
if it's engagement that you want,
don't get much back. She didn't say what.
I don't get much back. Let's assume I don't get much engagement. I don't get many likes or comments or shares. Now that it's a case of, well, what are you doing to invite that engagement? You know, I put something out, and you've got to kind of encourage them to engage with it. So one thing you might want to get in the habit of doing is finishing every post with a question. So if you're putting something out there, giving information, sharing something, finish it with a question. What's your biggest question about such and such? You know, what do you want to know more about this trip? Whatever it might be, finish every post with a question. So you've literally left it open for them to engage with it. There are other things you can do. Look what we're doing right now. It's a Facebook Live. Yeah, the single best form of engagement you can do on Facebook is a live video, a window into real life. Yeah, so you do these on a regular basis, you know, maybe once a week, or as often as you can afford to do it. Then you will see that add up. You'll see the engagement add up, and it's a huge way of building the familiarity and the trust. So Facebook Lives, another way to stimulate engagement. Start asking for people's opinions. Use polls and surveys and questionnaires. Get a feel for what people want to see more of, what they want to hear more of. You know, what are you not doing that they would like you to do? Yeah, so really start inviting that engagement. Just throwing a picture out there and expecting everyone to fall, you know, to be, oh, how wonderful, and share it with everybody and everyone they know is a little bit, you're asking a lot there. You've got to put a bit of work in to get that engagement. And again, on top of, you know, this is a Facebook Live, and where's it going? Into a Facebook group, yeah, where there are people who have deliberately joined because they want to hear from you. They want to learn more, and they want to hear from you. So what about if you start a group on a particular area? It doesn't have to be just about your clinic. It can be about a particular health issue or a particular
skin concern, you know,
whatever it might be, a group that serves a purpose that people want to be part of. And whenever you post in the group, there's more chance that they will see it and more chance that they'll engage with it, because they've already voluntarily, you know, they're giving you a signal. I want to be part of this group, so I want to hear more about this, and I want to engage with it. So you've got to put a bit of work in. You know, people are getting lazy at the end of the day, if it makes sense.
So if you just back to what we said a minute ago and what you said, Victoria, it is multiple touch points. Even if they don't engage, you know, there's a lot of voyeurs out there on social media that are just watching to see what you do. Even if they don't engage right now, think about the patient journey and how long it can take for people to pick up the phone. It can often take, depending on the treatment and their skin concern, it can take months, often years. So looking at your social media and checking you out is just 1 or 2 touch points. Their friend could have told them about you. They could have seen a video that you did. And by the way, with videos, make sure you've got closed captions on there, because a lot of people watch them in silent, especially if they're back at work now. So I just mean, you know, make sure the titles or subtitles are on there, closed captions they're called. So I've seen you on social media, I've checked out your Instagram page, my friend told me about you, I saw that treatment video you did, I walked past your clinic. You're talking multiple touch points, social media being one of them. It isn't the be all and end all, but it's one thing that you have to do, depending on the type of patient and client that you want to attract.
Yeah.
So that was a long answer, wasn't it? Hopefully that was helpful.
No, but it was good. And just a slight addition on it, if you've got any advice on this, we've had a live question come in, and if not, and we maybe want to get something out to that person a little bit later on, but somebody said, if somebody likes or interacts with a poll or something, you know, like just genuinely engages with the post that you've put out there, how would you follow up with that person? Do you have any advice on that?
Depends on what you've on what the context is, really. If they've just put something, said, oh yeah, that's lovely, thank you know, or nice post, then you know, you could, it's a bit hard to get the conversation going. You could put, oh, what was it that you liked about this post? You know, is a one way to continue the discussion. You've got to ask questions. If they're asking you a question, then great. Then you've got someone who's showing, they're giving you a signal that they're interested in it. You know, oh, I have a question about such and such. Then you can answer it, and then you can steer them to whatever is the natural next step, such as, why don't you check out the page on our website that has all the information about this, or why don't you download our whatever free guide on this, something like that. But yeah, it depends on how they engage with it. You know, you've got to be specific. You've got to be prepared to have very specific personal responses to people, rather than trying to fire a generic response to everyone who's commented. And
something that you say as well a lot is, don't be too quick to go in for the kill. Just have a conversation, nudge them along to the next step. You know, oh, I saw you responded to this. Would you like some more information? Here you go. You know, and then a week later, did you read over that information? Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah.
You know, like slowly catchy monkey, rather than like, I saw you like my poll, want to book in for a consultation?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you think, what, you know, rather than saying, do you have any questions for me? What questions have you got?
Yes, even better.
Even better. Open up that. Don't bring no into it.
Yeah, what questions have you got?
Yeah.
What was it that you liked about the post? What compelled you to make that comment?
If you could only solve one thing about your skin today, what would it be? That's possibly a bit too...
Whatever they've put, you just got to ask the next question to find out why they put it. You know, what was, you know, it's a really nice comment. Thank you for that. What was your strongest reason for asking that question? Or, do you know what I mean? Just
try and remember.
This is about human conversation.
Have a conversation. That's it.
The fact that it's online, it doesn't matter. It's still you talking to a human. You know, if I was talking to someone down the pub, I would be having the similar kind of conversation. I wouldn't be trying to sell them something on them saying, "Oh, hi Adam, how are you doing?" And oh, great. Actually, I wouldn't, you know, would you be interested in buying such and such?
We've got 10% off.
Yeah, you just be having the conversation. You might lead it to a point where you can take them to the next step, and just be careful how big a step that is. You know, so it might just be, why don't you, hey, I'll email you something. What's the best email address to send you some information about this?
Yeah, and always make sure you're in control though, and book a follow-up call. Did you get the email? What questions do you have for me?
Keep asking
questions. And like you said, it's a lot of clinics and practitioners do like to go straight in for the kill. Let's book you in for a consultation, but some people are just not ready yet. They might be at that still in their patient journey of research, constantly looking for ways to rule themselves out. Oh, that's not for me, or it might hurt, bit expensive, I'm going to look strange. Constantly looking for ways to literally put off the decision. So it's all about, think about this one, you know, like I said earlier, building what we call know, like and trust. Helping them get to know you, to get to like you and trust you, and you do that by being real, being human, engaging, educating, sharing your story, asking questions. The more engagement you can get, especially in that first hour of your post, the more chance of it's getting, being seen by other people. No engagement in that post in the first hour, it'll drop down and other people's posts will overtake it. So
if you're going to go, just to close the thing on the idea of posting a poll, if you're going to post a poll, make sure it's intentional, because you want to get some information that's going to really help you do something. So maybe you're trying to decide which treatment to put a lot of effort behind in terms of marketing. Now you do a poll along the lines of, Pam already said, if you could only improve one thing about your skin, what would that be? And then you're going to get a range of answers, and you can start to collate them, and the kind of the most frequent, the most popular ones, and it's going to give you an indication of where you need to focus your efforts in terms of marketing or whatever you want to be doing next. So make sure it's strategic. You've got a purpose for the poll, rather than what's your favorite color, or do you know what I mean?
But I mean, big one really, I would just, like we said with all marketing, put yourself in that patient's shoes. What do they want to hear about? Have a little notebook in your treatment room, make a note of questions, and anytime you're stuck for content. So today's Facebook Live, I got asked a question last night, all about my skincare regime. So I thought I'd share with you what I use. You've got some content. And it's real, it's human, and people, that is much better than posting a picture of a product. Remember, it's what the product does.
Yes, absolutely. So we've got 3 questions left. So I think if we could maybe do 5 minutes for the next 3 questions, it would take us on time. But just before we move on to the next stage, just while we are still talking about social media, the sort of latter end of that question was, what is a call to action? So I'm going to challenge you to explain to everybody watching at home in 60 seconds, what is a call to action and how do they work for you on social media?
Okay. Call to action all depends on what you want the end outcome to be. So what is your end outcome for whatever this thing is that you've posted? Now, I'll just tell you what works best for us, because our outcomes are sorry, you all right?
No, she said 60 seconds quickly.
Well, let me actually deliver this. So I lost my train of thought now.
Sorry.
Right, so the call to action that we use, that we find works the best, and works out of all the different ones we've tried, is learn more, because that is where we want to take them to somewhere else where they can learn more about what we've put here. Where we take them is 9 times out of 10 it'll be our website. On that website there will be some things where they can learn more, and there'll be another call to action, which is the next logical step in the process. And for us it's normally download our free guide. So they download our free guide, and then they've got their free guide, and then we'll have another call to action further down the line when they get their free guide, inviting them to take the next logical step in the process, which is to book a free call. So a call to action is, depending on which stage of the process you're at, what the call to action is.
But essentially it's telling them what to do now.
It's telling them what to do.
Of course,
That's basically
you're calling them to action. So you've read this
to take action.
About this now is
it's the bit that everyone misses.
Do that.
It's the bit that everyone misses, or it's the bit that everybody duplicates. So they say, click here, call us, email us. One clear call to action, ideally to nurture them in baby steps, not necessarily book now, because not everybody's ready to book now.
Absolutely.
Right. That was longer than 60 seconds. Sorry, but hopefully that's...
that was a great answer.
Brilliant.
Next kind of stage that people would go to then. So let's just say that you have attracted lots of new patients. The next thing is to really convert those from a consultation into paying patients. And actually, I think we don't have enough time to go too deeply into that now. But what we do have is the Illumier MD 6-step aesthetic consultation training available on our e-learning platform. So if you haven't already done it, get over and do that at once, because it literally talks you through a very clear framework that guides you through talking to your patients about root cause education of their problems, the skincare ingredients that will help to address those root causes, and the treatments that will help to complement the skincare to get them to their end results. So it's literally everything you need on that e-learning platform. Get over there, do all 6 parts, and reach out to any of us if you have any questions. So when we then get to the point where, you know, we've got our patients, we're trying to manage them, we want to manage new patients, getting patients that have already been to see us back in. And this really then comes down to the operations of the clinic, how you operate your clinic. So one of the questions around operations was, does working with a CRM system help to improve your patient base?
Absolutely. As much as a lot of you love paper, you need to get onto a system, because it's going to help streamline and automate things like reminders, recalls. It's going to help you look at your retention rate, who's bought what, who hasn't been in for a while that you could reignite, what have they spent in the last year, who your top spenders are, you know, and it allows you to, depending on the system, personalize and really get the message out there to get them back through the door. And again, depending on the system, but looking at your financials, you know, that's a key thing. Are you profitable? What's selling, what's not selling? Where can you focus your marketing? And where can you really, where are the gaps in the diary? So a really good CRM system is really going to help you with the complete management of your practice. It will take time to implement. It's a bit like 2 steps back to go 5 forward. Any medics watching, not all of you, but I know a lot of you get to the point where you just want to go back to paper, and I get that. But persevere, because it can take a few months to break through the pain, come out the other side, and trust me, you'll wonder what you ever did without it. A good CRM will more than pay for itself. More than
time and money.
Time and money.
You know, literally being able to, and we, you know, if you do end up coming on board to one of our programs, you know, one of the things we'll be asking you is to go back over all of your data to come up with some figures. Now, those of you who have paper will find that takes you hours. Those of you who have a system, it'll be there in a few clicks of a mouse. So that is the benefit, because you need to have those figures at hand in order to make better decisions. Yeah,
it's just giving you easy access, clarity, visibility, and streamline the routine stuff to allow you to focus on what you love doing best, and that's being with your patients in your treatment room. So it's a no-brainer, the person that asked. Thank you for asking.
Great, thank you very much. And one of the things that you touched on there, one of the benefits that CRM system can offer is alerts on who hasn't been to see you for a while, who you need to be re-engaging with. And that does lead us nicely on to our last question, which is all about patient retention. How do you keep people coming back again and again?
Yeah, and this is about you taking control ethically. Don't leave it up to them. Oh, you know, the worst one I hear is, oh, just call us when it's worn off, you know, or from a patient, oh, I didn't know you did that, I went elsewhere and had it done. Yeah, so it's your job. You know, people have come to you because you're the expert. They've come to you because they've got a problem and they need you to solve it. So as long as you're doing this based on the outcome, so it's all down to the great consultation, what outcome, how long, how urgent is it, how much pain are they in, how much do they need it, how much do they trust you? Think of all the right questions that you must ask in that consultation, and then get them booked in either onto a treatment plan that includes the right skincare to get the results, or if they're not on any skincare, you get them, once you've built some trust after your first treatment, get them in for a skin health review. Part of the process, we do a skin analysis, we spend an hour with you. As a patient, you know, this would normally cost you £50. As one of our patients, you get it as part of the journey. We spend some time, we educate, we look at what products you use, and we then formulate a plan based on what you're trying to achieve. But I mean, for really, it's all about retention and not leaving it in their hands. It's you taking control of the situation and having a process to follow, like Victoria's process, that actually leads them ethically to the right outcome. We've missed a question.
Oh,
the pricing one. Oh, hold on. Before we go to the pricing one, Adam's got one thing to add.
I was just going to say, one, take some lessons from people who do this really well. And dental practices are fantastic at retention, because immediately after your treatment, they actually tell you, they don't ask you, they tell you, I need to see you in 6 months' time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they will automatically generate an appointment time, put it in your hands, and you walk out with it. You're actually booked in, you know, and they'll tell you, look, if you can't make that time, just call us and we'll get you rebooked into another time.
Yeah.
And then what you get, if it's a good dental practice, is closer to the time, you'll get an email reminder, you'll get a text reminder. It's already in your diary anyway, so you've been able to plan around it, and then you're in for your checkup. Now, why does that only have to be for dentists? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is good business practice. Yeah. So it's just worth getting into those habits. And don't forget, you know, a good dental practice, a £1 million dental practice is 1,000 patients spending £1,000 a year. Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? Don't overcomplicate it. It's 1,000 patients spending £1,000 a year.
Yeah.
So that can easily be achieved by you know, high-end
treatment plans, including skincare. So and another one, just very quickly, just make sure when you're trying to, you know, you are selling skincare, obviously follow the training that Illumia give to you guys, but product of the month campaigns, show and tell videos, show people what you use, speed up videos, you know, doing treatments on yourself or your team, and just really just make sure that it's part of the ongoing conversation. Don't just sell a one-off product and let people walk out the door. I saw a clinic get a bad review for doing that. Mm-hmm. Never heard from them again. They posted a bad review. Follow up. How are you getting on? You want them. This is your Illumia product. I have got some upstairs. You want them thinking of you every time they use their product, every morning, every night.
Yep.
That's, yeah. So anyway, just very quickly, the final question was about pricing.
Yes, that's right. Sorry, I did miss that one as we were going through our patient journey, but somebody said, and we do hear this a lot. So I'm going to be really interested to hear how you answer this, but my biggest barrier is price. How do you attract people that can afford your treatments as services and skincare?
Okay, so first of all, that statement, my biggest barrier is price, is that your biggest barrier, the business owner or the customer's biggest barrier? Because very often, as we find when we really dig deep enough, it is the business owner's barrier that they put there. Yeah. So that needs to be dealt with in a very different way. That's a mindset issue. And we have to have some very deep conversations about why those beliefs and patterns have been established within you as the business owner, because it's going to take some time to break through them limiting beliefs and patterns. But yeah, that is one thing to deal with. But there's,
I mean, if you or one of your team members, even if you don't say it, it's the, you know, that's expensive kind of look, or, you know, sorry, but it's, you know, it's body language. People will pick up on it. If you feel, why am I charging this? If you're getting it into your mind, people haven't got much money. Don't forget that, yes, people's circumstances have and will continue to change over the next few months. But they're, like Adam said earlier, some people will have more money because they haven't necessarily been on holiday, been out as much, whatever. They might have been on furlough, whatever. So the key is what you put out, you get back. If you're a discount shopper and you're always thinking, I can't afford that, that's the type of patient you'll attract. Or if it's all over your marketing, that's the type of patient you'll attract. You know, but the thing to remember is 0.5% of the population will only ever go for the most expensive. 14% will only ever buy the cheapest. And as we don't want price shoppers, we want the rest of them, the 85.5%, who are buying for value. They want the best they can afford, the best overall experience, the best results, and it's the overall perceived value. If you can't get the perceived value across, there's something that you're doing wrong, either with your marketing or your consultation. So it's the perception of what they're buying. And as one of my clients said to me once, when he was asked about why a procedure costs so much money, he said, that's 30 minutes of my time, but 20 years experience. That's what you're paying for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is important to distinguish between, you know, like Pam said, 14% of any buying market, these are the averages, only ever buy the cheapest, right? So no matter if the product is any good, whether it's effective, good quality, bad quality, they don't really care. They only want the cheapest. Yeah, the commodity seekers. Now, there's only 14% of any market are in that category, and you will get some of them calling up. They're only after price. They only ever want the cheapest. And you've got a very tiny fraction of people who only ever want the most expensive. And again, price is the only consideration. I only want the most expensive.
My Ferrari.
And they have their own reasons for only wanting the most expensive. Price is the only factor for them, same as the cheapest. Everyone else in the middle are looking for the best they can afford, which means that price is a consideration, but it is not the only consideration. It's a box that needs to be checked in their head, in their mind, but there are other boxes in their mind that also need to be checked.
Yeah.
So it's up to you not to fixate on the price thing and start making sure you're helping them check the other boxes in their head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could even say, look, putting price aside for a minute.
Apart from price.
Yeah. What else is concerning you? And get to the real objection.
Other than price, what information do you need from us in order to choose us? Yeah. So it's
people have got to make a logical left brain and emotional right brain connection. Both have to be joined up, and the perceived value has to come across in a way that matters to them, not to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Perceived value, everything. I used to say to my girls when I owned my clinic, I used to do a bit of an exercise with them, and I would say, how much would you pay for a lottery ticket? And they were like, well, it depends. And I was like, it depends on what? And they were like, well, have the numbers been called or not? And you know, it's so interesting, because if you try and sell a lottery ticket before the numbers have been called, that bit of paper is only worth £2. That's it.
Yeah.
If the numbers have been called and it didn't win, that piece of paper is not worth anything. If the numbers have been called and it won £1 million, how much would you pay for that bit of paper? And that bit of paper hasn't changed. It's just the value that's attached to it. So how much do you value what you're recommending?
Yeah, and how much do you value yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all about your professional self-worth as well. If you think I'd never pay this, I'm only worth £20 an hour, you're not going to get very far as a business owner. It is about recognizing, hold on a minute, I've been trained to do this for years. I've been operating for years. I've put blood, sweat and tears into this business. I am worth X amount per hour. You know,
there is a lot around limiting beliefs, and we do have to address that with a lot of people, because if you wouldn't pay your own prices, then we've got a big problem. It's going to be manifested. It's going to come across in multiple ways to prospective customers, in the tonality, in your physiology, in the words that you use, everything. It's going to be everything. It's going to come across.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it is difficult. It takes a lot of unwinding old beliefs and old patterns
and childhood
to really,
stuff usually,
to really get you in the zone where you feel you're worth it.
Yeah.
But this is exactly the type of thing that people can expect from engaging with your services, working with you, and depending on how deeply people want to go, they can do one-to-one mentoring. You can do it more in a group environment where you can get best practice advice from your peers. There's so many different ways that you do things and coach and mentor people. So how would people find out more about going ahead with that and deciding on what type of coaching might be best for them?
So the best place to look, we've already mentioned the website, it's aesthetic-bt.com. If you go to the About Us page, what you've got there on that page is quite a comprehensive walkthrough of how we work, the results we help people to get, and all the different options that are available. And if you read through that in its entirety, it'll tell you, why we do what we do, who is a good fit in terms of, who we get the best results for, all the different options, from programs to private, and it'll also have a application form on there if you do want to apply to work with us, and we'll get that immediately when it comes through. Also on there's a testimonial section. Watch their videos, so watch them and see which ones you feel drawn to, because we help people in a variety of different ways achieve a variety of different outcomes. So you might watch one and go, well, not really what I want, what he got. Actually, I'm more interested in what this lady over here got, because she's got similar challenges to me.
Yeah.
So just see which ones you feel drawn to. And we're quite happy to set up, introductions to clients and former clients as well. There's obviously the free report, which we mentioned on the homepage of the website. Download that. That's a complete brain dump of Pam's brain on how to make your practice more profitable. So yeah, and there's obviously the free section of the website, the blogs, the articles, the videos. So everything is on there. Have a good look through it.
And then our email address, if you wanted to book a 30-minute consultation just to help you really nail what's going to be the most useful thing for you moving forward into this new economy, then email me at info@aesthetic-bt.com. So info@aesthetic-bt.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a call to action.
That is a call to action. Well noticed. But obviously a moment ago we gave you a few. That's a very clear, simple one.
Yeah. Very good indeed.
Right, well, we've overrun.
But only by a few minutes, and it was such valuable content. Guys, seriously, thank you so much for coming on and giving such valuable information to all of the people that will either be watching live or will watch over the next week or so. This video will continue to be available. So thank you so much for joining us.
Wonderful. And hopefully we can share this on our page as well. One little post for social media. Give us a wave, everybody. Adam, wave. Brilliant.
Thank
Lovely.
you so much, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
We'll see you again.
Bye. Bye.